Home invasion horror. It starts with the little things. A window you definitely closed is open. You're noticing things aren't quite where you left them, and that security system you spent way too much on is somehow disabled. By the time you hear the footsteps upstairs, you realize you have unwanted guests, and this time it's not just your in-laws. Cell service is mysteriously down, and your normally over-attentive neighbors pick the perfect night to go on vacation. The house you know so well becomes a maze of dead ends and blocked exits. That's when you realize you'll have to face the intruders head-on, turning your living room into a battlefield and your kitchen into a war zone. Most home invasion films end at sunrise, assuming you survive that long. At least now you have a legitimate reason to get that guard dog. Monster horror. Monster horror relieves humans of their place atop the food chain, taking our fears of things that go bump in the night and giving them teeth, claws, and usually a peculiar weakness to a common household item. It starts when something unusual disrupts your quiet town. Local pets go missing, strange tracks appear in the woods, and the scientific research facility on the hill is oddly quiet about it all. The situation escalates as the creature grows bolder, and the local wildlife seem to have unanimously decided to relocate. The military arrives just in time to make everything worse. The town's survival now depends on finding its weakness, which could be anything from nuclear weapons to a specific brand of breakfast cereal. Sci-fi horror. Sci-fi horror takes everything terrifying about the unknown and launches it into orbit. It starts when your deep space mission receives an unexpected signal. Corporate wants you to investigate, despite every crew member pointing out this isn't in their contract. The ship's AI definitely doesn't have a hidden agenda and assures you everything will be fine. Your team splits up to explore the derelict spacecraft, ancient ruins, or mysterious research station, but you discover why the last crew disappeared, and it's not because they're away on another mandatory team building trip. Most sci-fi horror films end with the sole survival nuking the threat from orbit. Just to be sure, humanity learns an important lesson about space exploration, which we'll completely forget by the sequel. Religious horror. Religious horror takes your casual relationships with faith and turns it into a high-stakes battle between good and evil, usually involving a lot more projectile vomiting than Sunday school prepared you for. It starts when someone in your family begins acting strange. Sure, teens are moody, but walking on ceilings is hard to blame on hormones. The local doctor suggests therapy, medication, or maybe just a good night's sleep. All perfectly reasonable solutions for symptoms that don't include making your head spin 360 degrees. Most religious horror films end with good triumphing over evil, but at a cost, and your faith is stronger than ever, though you'll never look at pea soup the same way again. Zombie horror. Zombie horror turns your everyday apocalypse into a buffet where you're the main course, and the dead might not be your biggest threat. It starts when the news reports a mysterious infection. The always trustworthy government assures everyone it's under control. Your coworker shows up with a slight fever and seems a bit more disgruntled than usual. What began as a minor outbreak has turned into a full-scale societal breakdown. Half your group thinks the zombies can be cured, and someone's definitely hiding a bite wound. Most zombie films end when the survivors reach the safe zone, assuming there is one. Gothic horror. Gothic horror traps outsiders in decaying estates where family curses are the only thing being properly maintained. A mysterious distant relative has left you a sprawling Victorian estate, complete with creaking floorboards and eerily lifelike portraits. The oddly loyal staff conveniently excludes half the estate from your tour. Strange noises echo through the halls at night, and those portraits are feeling more like the observers than the observed. What started as an unexpected and desperately needed windfall turns out to be your downfall. Most Gothic horror films end with the realization that some family inheritances are better left unclaimed. Unfortunately, by the time you figure that out, the house has already decided you're part of its permanent collection.